it's nice.
Waiting for ISKM.
You can load again, bro. Load again.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakayam Sakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam
Savitam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadakya
Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sarvadavanatam Vidam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadhutam Vatsaladhitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sarvita Shri Vishakam Cha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakachaka Gaurangi Radhe Vritavaneshwari Krishavanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhyeva Cha Paridanam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatadeshakarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
whatever is seen in the screen. In this one.
Comments are coming. One person is gone. And two things.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you so much for coming today. Sorry for the delay, some technical problem. So because of Narshimha Chaturdashi, like now we are reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 7th Canto. So this has 10 chapters, is covering the Narshimha Lila. So today morning we read the first chapter. So now we read the second chapter. Now we read and then we will also discuss here and there. So whenever discussion is required, we'll just discuss about it. We will not have time to read all the purports. So let us focus on the translation and then we will speak on that wherever it is required, because there is 10 chapters to be covered within 4 days. So let us read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and say the screen summary. Summary is there. 7-2 summary. You can make it bigger possible. Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. As described in this chapter, after the annihilation of Hiranyaksha's sons and his brother Hiranyakashipu were very much aggrieved. Hiranyakashipu reacted very sinfully by trying to diminish the religious activities of people in general. However, he instructed his nephews about history just diminished their agreement. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as a boar and killed Hiranyakashipu's brother Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu was very much aggrieved. In anger, he accused the Supreme Personality of Godhead of being partial to his devotees and derided the Lord's appearance as Varaha to kill his brother. He began to agitate all the demons and Rakshasas and disturb the ritualistic ceremonies of peaceful sages and other inhabitants of earth. For want of the performance of yajna, sacrifice, the demigods began wandering unseen on earth. After finishing the ritualistic funeral ceremonies of his brother, Hiranyakashipu began speaking to his nephews, quoting from Shastras about the truth of life. To pacify them, he spoke as follows: My dear nephews, for heroes to die before the enemy is glorious, according to their different fruitive activities. Living entities come together within this material world and are again separated by the laws of nature. We should always know, however, that a spirit soul which is different from the body is eternal, unadjustable, pure, all-pervading and aware of everything. When bound by material energy, the soul takes birth in higher or lower species of life according to varying association, and in this way receives various types of bodies in which to suffer or enjoy. One affliction by the conditions of material existence is a cause of happiness and distress. There are no other causes. One should not be aggrieved upon seeing the superficial actions of karma. Hiranyakashipu then related a historical incident concerning King Suyajna, who resided in the country named Usinara. When the king was killed, his twins, overwhelmed with grief, received instructions, which Hiranyakashipu quoted to his nephews. Hiranyakashipu related an account of a Pulinga bird pierced by the arrow of a hunter while lamenting for his wife, who had also been shot by the same hunter. By narrating these stories, Hiranyakashipu pacified his nephews and other relatives and relieved them of lamentation. Thus, having been pacified, Diti and Rushabhanu, Hiranyakashipu's mother and sister-in-law, engaged their minds in spiritual understanding. So this is the summary of 7th canto, 2nd chapter. Let us go to first sloka. Because we don't read the sloka, we just read only translation, and we try to cover as much as possible. When Lord Vishnu, in the form of Varaha, the boar, killed Hiranyaksha, Hiranyaksha's brother Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry and began to lament. Filled with rage and biting his behind his spear, exhibiting his terrible teeth, fierce glance, and frowning eyebrows, terrible to see, he took up his weapon, a trident, and thus began speaking to his associates, the assembled demons. O Danavas, O Daityas, O Vimudda, Treksha, Sambara, and Sadabahu, O Hayagriva, Namuchi, Paka, and Ilvala, O Viprachiti, Puloman, Sakuna, and other demons. All of you kindly hear me attentively and then act according to my words without delay. My insignificant enemies, the demigods, have combined to kill my very dear and obedient well-wisher, my brother Hiranyaksha. Although the Supreme Lord Vishnu is always equal to both of us, namely the demigods and demons, this time being devotedly worshipped by the demigods, he has taken their side and helped them to kill Hiranyaksha. So this is the condition here. So as we discussed in the morning, the first chapter, Hiranyakashipu, even though he is a demon, he is fortunate. He is not like other atheists. Hiranyakashipu, Sisubal, because first chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked this question. Why did Sisubala got liberation, but Vena did not get liberation? So, answering this point, Narada Muni told Yudhishthira that Vena did not know the form of Krishna that we saw in the first chapter. Whereas Sisubal, even though he was envious of Krishna, he was always blaspheming Krishna, he knows the name, form, paraphernalia and activities of the Lord. So that is why it is mentioned in two places in the first chapter, somehow or other you engage your mind in Krishna's service. Not one place, two places. Same thing is explained by Rupa Goswami in Necro Devotion also. Enatena prakarena mana Krishna nimittikam. Somehow or other you engage your mind in Krishna's service. Same thing is explained. So, Hiranyakashipu, he is very clearly mentioned Harina, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, his problem is that why the Supreme Lord Hari is not equal? Why is he partial demigods? That is his problem. His problem is not that, accepting Krishna as Supreme Personality of God. Hari, the name is also mentioned, The name is also mentioned. Parshnik Radena Harina Samenapi Upadavanahi. So instead of being equal, he becomes partial. So that is the fortunate position of Hiranyakashipu. That is why he was able to go back to God. Whereas the modern atheistic people, they are so foolish that they don't know the name and form of the Lord. That is why they cannot go back to Godhead. That is the point here. And another thing is that, as we discussed today morning, the angry is exhibited by the devotees only when the devotees are blasphemed or Krishna is blasphemed. Krodhat Krishna Dveshi Jane. That is a conclusion. Whereas the demons, they are always in the conscious of I and mine. Right? The chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned. Aham Bhogi. Right? The verse goes on. So the demons always think about their welfare. As we also discussed in the morning, the real hero is devotees, the Brahmanas. Kshatriyas, even though they appear to be heroic and by doing various activities, they are always in fear, anxiety, because they want to maintain their position. Clear? So that is why we should understand that the real heroes are devotees, that's the Brahmanas, not the Kshatriyas. Brahmanas are more glorious than Kshatriyas. But this Kshatriya is demonic Kshatriya also, in fact. He is envious of Krishna. So that point you have to understand. So Hiranyakashipu was very fortunate that he knows the form, name, paraphernalia of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That makes him different from the atheist. So we cannot see the verse is there, like we saw in the first chapter, that even by anger, even by lusty desire, even by being inimical, even by loving devotional service, one can get the spontaneous attraction toward the Lord. One can go back to God. It is mentioned there. But that cannot be compared to the modern atheistic class of people. Even though they say there is no God, God is not there, God is dead. Even though they speak like that, okay, they are thinking of God. So they are also like Hiranyakashipu, they can go back to God. No, because they don't know the name, form, and paraphernalia of the Lord. So that we have to understand very clearly. Next verse. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has given up his natural tendency of equality toward the demigods and demons. Although he is a supreme person, see again, although he is a supreme person now influenced by Maya, he has assumed the form of a boar to please his devotees, the demigods. Just as the restless child leads towards someone. I shall therefore sever Lord Vishnu's head from his trunk by my trident. and with the profuse blood from his body, I shall please my brother Hiranyaksha, who was so fond of sucking blood. Thus shall I too be peaceful. So this is the ajnana. This is the ignorance. So actually there is a contradicting statement by the Hiranyakashipu here. Tasya tyakta svabhavasya. So he clearly understands that actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the word it is mentioned that svabhavasya. Svabhava means his original svabhava must be equal. That is Lord. Like Lord should be merciful. Just like like so-called devotees, neophyte devotees. Sometimes they pray to Lord Krishna or even demigods. So my dear Lord, please give me this. Dhanam dehi, vidya dehi, rupavati dehi. They pray so much of prayers. And sometimes they get, sometimes they don't get. Sometimes they even get problems in life. So when they get problem in life, what they do? Oh, there is no God. The God has lost his senses. The God has become stone. I don't worship God anymore. So they start thinking like that. Similarly here also Hiranyakashipu also thinks like that. What is that? Griner Maya Vanau Kashapa. So he got affected by Maya. Hiranyakashipu thinks that Hari got affected by Maya. That is a problem. Hari cannot be affected by Maya at any time. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, verse number 13. Tasya kartaram apimam vidhi akartaram api. So Krishna is always above the three modes of material nature. Tribhir gunamay bhave ebir sarva nijam jagat mohitam nabijanati naham tepyo manata. So the whole world is deluded by the three modes of material nature and they do not know my high position. Naham, what is that? Naham prakasa sarvasya yomaya samavrata mudhoyam nabijanati lokomam ajammapi. So Krishna is covered by his external energy. It's covered. So because he is covered, people do not know the lokomam ajammaviyam. Krishna is aja and avyayam. Krishna has no birth and is also Shri imperishable, avyayam. So people don't know this. Like Hiranyakashipu also, he got deluded and he is thinking that, oh, Krishna lost his original tendency, he has lost his intelligence. Now he is covered by Maya. Maya is what? Maya is his maid servant. Right? When you can take a sloka book. So you can see that first canto, 5th chapter, Vyasa is telling, just take one more, no green color, better one. Sit on. Vyasa is telling, what is telling? Maya, what is that? Samyak. Maya Upa is completely forever. Search for big plan. So it is there in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Take the sloka book. Take the sloka book. Read it. So yeah, 174. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihite male apashyat purusham purnam mayam satat apashrayam. Thus he fixed his mind, perfectly engaged, transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of materialism. So, as Vyasadeva clearly says that Maya cha tat apashrayam. Maya was actually fully under the control of Krishna. Same thing explained in Bhagavad Gita also. What is mentioned? Chapter 9, verse number 10. Again Krishna is saying what? What is the verse? 9, 10. You remember? Maya dakshena prakriti swete saracharam hetunanena kaunteya jagat viparivartana. The material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So, Maya is under his control. But when we are under the modes of Maya, we think that, oh, Krishna is in Maya. Atmavan Manite Jagat. Krishna is Prabhupada always quote this word. Atmavan Manite Jagat. Because the one who is under the clutches of Maya, and he also thinks that Krishna is under Maya. So this is actually, complete foolishness. Next verse. When the root of a tree is cut and tree fall down, its branches and twigs automatically dry up. Similarly, when I have killed this diplomatic Vishnu, the demigods for whom Lord Vishnu is the life and soul, will lose the source of life vigorously. So, Hiranyakashipu, even though he was a demon, he understood a point. He accepted the points that everybody is branch and twigs. So he understands that Krishna is the tree, and then we are all parts of the tree. So again he understands the points that, accept the point that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and we are all simply part and parcel of it. While I am engaged in the business of killing, Lord Vishnu go down to the planet Earth, which is flourishing due to Brahminical culture and Kshatriya government. These people engage in austerity, sacrifice, Vedic study, ritualistic vows, and charity. Destroy all the people thus engaged. So demons, they are always envious of Krishna. Envious of the devotees. That is why, Hiranyakashipu says that I will kill Vishnu, but you all go and destroy the Brahminical culture. That is what is happening in Kali Yuga. And what is the first thing that was destroyed by Kali Purusha? How did he bring adharma in this era? In Kali Yuga? What was the first thing that was attacked by Kali? Yes. The cows got attacked. Because Prabhupada says that two things are important in society. What is two things? One is cow protection, and then the Brahmanas to be protected. And Prabhupada explains that out of these two things, cow protection is more important than even Brahmanas protection. Protecting the cows is more important. Protecting the cows is more important than even actually the Brahmanas. Prabhupada explains the point that without drinking cow milk, nobody can get the Brahminical quality. You understand? Nobody can get the Brahminical quality without drinking the milk of the cow. That you have to understand. So simply by drinking cow's milk, we get the Sattva. Clear? And despising Brahmanas and ridiculing them, always putting them down. Next verse. The basic principle of Brahminical culture is to satisfy Lord Vishnu. The personification of sacrificial and ritualistic service. Lord Vishnu is a personified reservoir of all religious principles, and he is a shelter of all demigods, the great pitas, and people in general. If the Brahmanas are killed, no one will exist to encourage the Kshatriyas to perform yajnas, and thus the demigods, not being appeased by yajna, will automatically die. Here, Hiranyakashipu got angered with two people. One is Vishnu, another one is demigods. Who was the cause of his brother to be killed? See, Hiranyakashipu is not a fool. How nicely he is glorifying the Lord. Even though it looks like he is too much anger towards the Lord, but indirectly he is glorifying the Lord. This was, it's a prayer. The Lord will take it as a prayer. He is saying that he is a personification of sacrificial and ritualistic service. And Lord Vishnu is a personified reservoir of all religious principles. But the point is that when the Brahmins are destroyed, how the society will be guided? That is why Purusha explained that Brahmano Mukhamasita. When the brain is not functioning, how the body will get instruction? Who gives instruction to the body? Who gives instruction? Suppose you are moving your hand, you are moving your leg, right? The instruction comes from the brain. When the brain doesn't function properly, and you have some problem with your brain or in your nerves, then the body cannot function or you will be crazy. Similarly, when the Brahmanas are Brahminical culture is destroyed in society, then there won't be any yajna like present age. In Kali Yuga, there is no yajna. There is no yajna. Nobody does yajna. Nobody is serious about performing any yajna. That is why the gods are not happy, and then there is no rain on proper time, or too much rain, floods, right? Everything is complete chaos. This is what Hiranyakashipu wants. Yeah, he can do this, but he cannot do long time, because Krishna is in control. He will put back. Immediately go wherever there is good protection for the cows and brahmanas. See? And wherever the Vedas are studied in terms of the Varnashrama principles of the trees there, which are the source of life. So these are the demon things. The demons always don't like the cows to be protected and the brahmanas to be protected also. Thus the demons, being fond of disastrous activities, took Hiranyakashipu's instruction on their heads in great respect and offered him obeisances. According to his direction, they engaged in envious activities directed against all living beings. Demons set fire to the cities, villages, pasturing grounds, cow pens, gardens, agricultural fields, natural forests. They burned the heritage of the saintly person, important mines that produce valuable metals, the residential quarters of agriculturists, the mountain villages, and the village of cow protectors, the cow herdmen. They also burned government animals. Okay. Let us go back to this verse again. Here it is clearly mentioned that the demons set fire to the cities. Okay. But you see, in modern age, the villages are not set to fire, but village culture is destroyed. The villages are supposed to be self-sufficient. The villages are supposed to be self-sufficient. There is no self-sufficiency in the village. Where is the pasturing ground? Where is the pasturing ground now? There is no pasturing ground. Everywhere is actually no flats, plots, apartments, or vehicle plots. There is no pasturing ground. There is no cow pens. There is no garden. There is a garden here. There is no trees first of all. There is no agricultural fields. No agricultural fields. All the agricultural fields are converted into the plots, and then a flats. And then where is the natural forest? No forest. No forest. They burned the heritage of saintly persons. Where is ashram? There is no heritage of saintly person. Even though we try to build also, how much difficulty is to build a temple or the accommodation for devotees. Yeah, of course, they keep the important mines that produce valuable metals because they want to make money. So that also they are capitalizing. They want one person want to own everything, and then we want to take complete control. Mountain villages, yeah, like America. You see, America was once upon a time, it was by all the local people, mountain people. What happened to all of them? The British people went there and completely took control over it. So you see, all these things are destroyed in Kali Yuga also. That is why I repeatedly say that Hiranyakashipu, like say, Prahlad Charita, Narshimha Charita is relatable to present age. Even though there are so many pastimes in the Bhagavad, this Narshimha Charita is very much relatable because Kali Yuga is full of demons. Our schools are like the Gurukula of Chandamata. And then the education is also the same education that was taught to Prahlad Maharaj by Chanda and Amarka. And we are trying to do the job of Narada. And then we are accused. Oh, you are spoiling your children. Right? We want to teach the children, this nice supreme person. No, don't go to sadhus. The parents are warning the children, don't go to sadhus, they will spoil you. Don't meet the devotees. Devotees will destroy you. They will make you lazy. Yeah, the Brahmanas are actually called as lazy intelligent. There are 4 classes of people: lazy intelligent, busy intelligent, lazy fool, busy fool. Brahmanas are called furnitures or they don't work on the vehicles. They don't do this. But what they do? They are always busy in the service of the Lord. That's why they are called as a lazy intelligent. And next thing is Kshatriyas, they are busy intelligent. They are also intelligent because they follow Varnashram Dharma, but they are busy in making money for their protection. This is busy intelligent. But Vaishyas are called as intelligent, busy fools. They are fools because they don't know the purpose of life. They think that only my boss can give me food. Just like the dogs, just like the donkey, they think that only my boss can give me food. Otherwise, how I can eat? They don't understand that Krishna is in control. Balasanekam vidro Narashimha. As that sloka goes, everything is given by Krishna. Ishavasya vidam sarvam. Everything is under the control of Krishna. Right? Very, very busy in making money. 4 classes of people. So, demons, they don't like the devotees to go to, they don't like the children to go to devotees. It is a point you have to understand. Next verse. Some of the demons took and gates took access and began cutting the important trees that produce mango, jackfruit, and other sources of food. Some of the demons took firebrands and set fire to residential quarters of the citizens. This is how the demon works. This is how the demon works. Like now they are also planning to centralize the food. I was just seeing one article, one video I saw. It looks like Bill Gates has a plan to centralize the food of the whole world. He's working on, like making one standard kind of food, a centralized food system. Just like everything is centralized now, no? Everything is centralized. Before it was not centralized. Every village was autonomous. Every village has actually pond, and then it was taken care by the local people who are taking care of the pond. Local people are taking care of the streets and fields. Everything was local. Now that country came. Now what? They are actually talking about centralizing for the whole world. It is all will happen. Right? What is that verse? Pravritimcha navidur asura jana. The demons do not know what to do and what not to do. Pratimcha, anivritimcha. It means, nivriti means not to. And another one is to do. What to do and what not to do. They don't know. So they always do this kind of activities of destroying the material nature. Thus disturbed again and again by the unnatural occurrence caused by the followers of Hiranyakashipu, all the people had to cease the activities of Vedic culture. not receiving the results of yajna, the demigods also become disturbed. They left their yajna, the demigods also, they left their residential quarters in the heavenly planets and unobserved by the demons began wandering on the planet Earth to see the disasters. So we have to understand one thing, that the whole world is like the body. For example, we can see that sometimes there is a bone here. The bone will get what do they say that? Worn out sometimes. So then what if you feel dizziness? So you get problem here, why you feel dizzy here? And sometimes we get stoned and then we feel dizziness. I mean, how is it related? And then you get cut in the leg and tears come from the leg. Tears come from the eyes. So the whole body is actually related. So when one is affected, everything is affected. When the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies were stopped, when the yajna was stopped, then the demigods got disturbed. Then people got disturbed. And everything is completely. That is why the Brahmanas are required. They will constantly educating the Kshatriyas how to rule the country. Under their guidance, the Brahmanas rule the countries. This is how the system. But now everything is finished, just like those days. After performing the ritualistic observations for the death of his brother Hiranyakashipu, being extremely unhappy, tried to pacify his foes. So in one way, in one side, Hiranyakashipu is trying to destroy the Vedic culture. Another way, he is doing ritualistic ceremony for his brother. So how to understand that? So it is not that demons will not do any ritualistic ceremony. They will also do rituals. People in general nowadays, they are doing all rituals, right? They will do all rituals except chanting Hare Krishna mantra. They will do this ritual, they will do that ritual, they will go to that temple which is 500 kilometers away, and then they will put a lamp in a temple for so many days continuously. Do all these ritualistic activities. They do Deepavali, they do Pongal, they do all festivals, but they don't know why they are doing the festival. Why Deepavali? I was giving class in a school. I asked the children, "Oh, happy Deepavali! You all celebrate nice Deepavali?" Yes, they said, yes. We got nice Deepavali. What is Deepavali? Burning crackers. Another boy said, eating meat. Eating meat is Deepavali. And then putting new dress. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what is Deepavali. That is so-called rituals. Hiranyakashipu was also doing rituals for his brother. So we should not think that, just because someone is doing some ritualistic activity, he is actually a devotee of it. We should not think like that. Devotee of Krishna is engaging in ritualistic activities and devotional services under the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, or at least indirectly he will serve the spiritual master by following the Smriti Puranas. Shruti Puranadi Pancharadriki within Vina. Vina means don't care. Give up. You don't care about the Shruti Purana, Pancharadriki, and then try to preach or try to practice. Then what? Utpada evi. It's called like Utpada. Disturbance society. You are simply creating some disturbance in the society by following the so-called nice words. O king, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, but since he was a great politician, he knew how to act according to the time and situation. With sweet words, he began pacifying his nephews, whose names were Sakuni, Sambara, Drishti, Bhutasantapana, Vrika, Kalanava, Mahanava, Harishmashru and Utkacha. He also consoled their mother, his sister-in-law, Ushabanu, as well as his own mother, Diti. He spoke to them as follows. So, Hiranyakashipu's philosophical understanding can be seen here. Even though he is a demon, and even though he is envious of Krishna, we can see how much philosophical understanding he has got in the following verses. Hiranyakashipu said, "My dear mother, sister-in-law, and nephews, you should not lament for the death of a great hero, for a hero's death in front of his enemy is glorious and desirable. My dear mother, in a restaurant or place where drinking cold water, many travelers are brought together, and after drinking water, they continue to their respective destinations. Similarly, living entities join together in a family, and later, as a result of their own actions, they are led apart to their destination." I mean, even many devotees even don't know this. Like, even many people don't know this. What a philosophy. The same point is also told by, let us see, the same thing is also explained by Chitraketu. What is the example given by Chitraketu? You remember? What is the example given by Chitraketu? Similar to this verse? You remember?
Prabhu, the beads get separated.
What is separated?
Beads in the sea.
Chitraketu is comparing the sands in the desert. The desert has so much of wind. There will be a group of sand, like some sand particles are together, and there will be a gush of wind, and then actually all of them goes away. And this sand particle will leave this group and join the next group. And next wind comes, that will leave this group and join that group. And constantly the sand particle is moving from one place to another place. That is the example given by Chitraketu. The same thing is told by Hiranyakashipu in the place of restaurant, like or people gathering. They gather together, they drink, and then they go away. Similarly, we come together as a family member, and we got separated. So he's saying that, so don't get disturbed by this. The spirit soul, the living entity, has no death, for he is eternal and inexhaustible. Being free from material contamination, he can go anywhere in the material or spiritual worlds. He is fully aware and completely different from a material body. But because of being misled by misuse of his slight independence, he is obliged to accept the subtle and gross bodies created by the material energy, and thus be subjected to so-called material happiness and distress. Therefore, no one should lament for the passing of the spirit soul from the body. You know the proper philosophy? This is not what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter. So why don't we hear Bhagavad Gita from Hiranyakashipu? He speaks exactly what Krishna speaks, right? But what is the missing link? That he is envious of Krishna. And similarly, in modern age, there are so many so-called Babas, and then Sadgurus, and so many people are like, and they speak the same philosophy. You are not the body, you are the mind, you do yoga, pranayama, and they speak so many philosophy. So, externally, it looks similar to Bhagavad Gita's instruction. They will say that you are not the body, you are a spirit soul, and you are full of happiness. Yeah. That is why you see the Mayavadis, they like only 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. They like the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. They don't go to 7th chapter. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is comparing Bhagavad Gita to a jewel box. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is comparing Bhagavad Gita to a jewel box. A jewel box Is having a top layer and bottom layer, and there is actually jewel visible. And similarly, the top layer is first 6th chapter, and the real jewel is the next 6th chapter, and the next 6th chapter is the backing. It's backing up. The next 6th chapter is backing up the jewel. First is opening. It is revealing the jewel. First 6th chapter. And real jewel is next 6th chapter. And other 6th chapter is backing up the jewel. Similarly, first 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is introduction to Bhagavad Gita. The next 6th chapter is the real Bhagavad Gita. 7th chapter to 12th chapter, almost all the slokas are important. If you want to memorize, you have to memorize all the slokas. Especially 7th chapter, 9th chapter and all. I mean, you cannot even omit one sloka. Every sloka is perfect. And then 13 to 18 is a backing up. The point. So even though in speaking philosophy, you should not falsely think that he is a spiritual master. Or he speaks philosophy, let us say Hiranyakashipu is a spiritual master. It's not like that. Because the missing point is that he does not tell us to serve Krishna. Like once one person told Prabhupada, I read your Bhagavad Gita, I also read Ramanuja's Bhagavad Gita, it looks very similar. And Prabhupada said, yes, that must look similar. Acharya's teaching does not change because of the parampara or sampradaya. All the sampradaya acharya teachings is one. The teaching is different, then it is not parampara. Evam parampara. What is the next verse? Evam parampara praptam, imam rajarishu. What is the next verse? Next sloka. 4:2. When the parampara is broken, then the science appears to be so when the parampara is lost, then the science appears to be lost. So when the science is different, then you must understand that he is not a proper spiritual master. So here, even though Hiranyakashipu speaks the proper philosophy, seemingly we cannot accept a person like Hiranyakashipu as a philosopher or a mentor or a guide, because his conclusion is not same. Ramanujas, ourselves, and then Madhvacharya, like Madhva Sampradaya, or you can even Vishnu Swami, Limbarga, all of them are different kind of practices. For example, Tilaka is different. And then mantra we chant is also different. They are chanting Om Namo Narayana, we chant Hare Krishna mantra. So, but what is the common thing here? The common thing is that Krishna is supreme person. We have to serve Krishna. Aim of life is to serve Krishna. Jivera Surupyoy, Itti Krishna Rajasta. These are the common principles. But that is missing in Hiranyakashipu's teaching. That is why we cannot accept a person like Hiranyakashipu as the spiritual master. Clear? Because of the movements of the water, the trees on the bank of the river, when reflected on the water, seem to move. Similarly, when the eyes move because of some mental disagreement, the land appears to move also. In the same way, O gentle mother, when the mind is agitated by the movements of the modes of material nature, the living entity, although free from all different ways of subtle and gross bodies, think that he has changed from one condition to another. In this bewildered state, the living entity, accepting the body and mind to be the self, considers some people to be his kinmen and others to be outsiders. Because of this misconception, he suffers. Indeed, the accumulation of such concocted material ideas is a cause of suffering, and so-called happiness in the material world. The conditioned soul, thus situated, must take birth in different species and work in various types of consciousness, thus creating new bodies. This continued material life is called samsara, birth, death, lamentation, foolishness and anxiety, or due to such material consideration. Thus, we sometimes come to a proper understanding and sometimes fall again to a wrong conception. Even though Hiranyakashipu speaks philosophy like that, and he also thinks like that. He is thinking Vishnu as enemy and demons as friends. This is called Jnanam and Vijnanam. You know Jnanam, but Vijnanam is not there. He is not practicing what is he preaching. That is why this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They say that some people, they preach and will not follow. Some people, they will follow but they will not preach. But you preach and also follow. Chaitanya Prabhu says Sanatana Goswami, if I am not wrong. Maybe someone who is seeing, if you know the reference, I can post this verse. So some people like to preach, but if you see their personal life, they don't practice that. Some people, they will follow everything nicely, but they cannot preach nicely. They don't have the quality to teach others. Hiranyakashipu is like that, even though he is preaching, but he is not practicing what is he preaching. In this regard, an example is given from an old history. This involves a discourse between Yamaraj and the friends of the dead person. Please hear it attentively. So here he is giving an example. That the discourse happened between Yamaraj and the friend of the dead person. In the state known as Usinara, there was a celebrated king named Suyajna. When the king was killed in battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. So it looks like there is a state called Usinara and there is a king called Suyajna. And the king was killed in the battlefield by the enemies. So everybody sits around the dead body and cry, like that they were crying. His golden, bejeweled armor smashed, his ornaments and garlands fallen from their places, his hair scattered and his eyes lustreless. The slain king lay on the battlefield, his entire body smeared with blood, his heart pierced by the arrows of enemies. When he died, he had wanted to show his prowess, and thus he had bitten his lips, and his feet remained in that position. His beautiful lotus-like face was now black and covered with dust from the battlefield. His arms with his sword and other weapons were cut and broken. When the queens of the king, Usinara, saw their husband lying in that position, they began crying, "O Lord, now that you have been killed, we also have been killed." Repeating these words again and again, they fell down, pondering their breast at the feet of the dead. So this is what Prabhupada says. Everybody sees Krishna. Some sees him as Supreme Personality of Godhead, others see him as death. So when you die, you understand, there is hell, there is Yamaraj, you understand. Or you can also understand Krishna when you are living. So this person, this king named Suyajna, like he saw, and also his relatives, they realized that his beauty, his power, wealth, everything is lost within actually one moment. Of course, naturally, the wives are very attached, and then they are saying that you are dead, so we are also dead. We have no life without you. All the queens loudly cried. Their tears glided down their breast, becoming reddened by kumkum powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair become disarrayed, their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others, the queens began lamenting their husbands. They are saying, "Oh, O Lord, you have now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. We had previously sustained the livelihood of the inhabitants of Usinara, and thus they were happy. But your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. O King, O hero, you are a very grateful husband and the most sincere friend of all of us. How shall we exist without you? O hero, wherever you are going, please direct us there so that we may follow in your footsteps and engage again in your service. Let us go along with you." This is the sati system. This is sati system. When husband dies, the wife also die along, and then she continues the journey along with the husband. And that is chastity, life after life. The time was appropriate for the body to be burned, but the queens, not allowing to be taken away, continued lamenting for the dead body, which they kept on their laps. In the meantime, the sun completed its movements for setting in the west. While the queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, the loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamaraj. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamaraj personally approached the relatives of a dead body and advised them as follows. Yamaraj said, okay, before that. So the point is that, we should not keep the dead body after sunset. So if someone dies, immediately, he should be set fire before sunset. That is a custom. Alas, how amazing it is. These persons who are older than me have full experience that hundreds and thousands of living entities have taken birth and died. And thus, they should understand that they are also apt to die. But still, they are bewildered. The conditioned soul comes from an unknown place and returns after death to the same place. There is no exception to this rule, which is contented by material nature. Knowing this, what do they uselessly lament? So this is what the question asked by Yamaraj to Yudhishthira. What is the most astonishing thing in the world? And he is explaining this verse, Ahani Ahani Budani Kaschid Yamaraya. Every day, every second, there are so many people dying. Even though we are witnessing people dying, we don't understand that we also must die one day. You don't understand that. That is the most astonishing thing in the world. Kim Matam Paramacharya. Matam Param. So Krishna is saying. Yudhishthira is saying. The same thing is explained by Yamaraj as a small boy. It is wonderful that these elderly women do not have a higher sense of life than we do. Indeed, we are most fortunate. For although we are children and have been left to struggle in the material world, unprotected by father and mother, and although we are very weak, we have not been vanquished or eaten by ferocious animals. Thus, we have firm belief that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has given us protection, even in the womb of mother, will protect us everywhere. You see? How beautiful, how beautiful explanation is given by Yamaraj. If we can be saved in the womb of the mother, why we cannot be saved outside the womb of the mother? It's like a small wall, a small house, small room, without any windows, without any doors. You cannot even come for breathe out. Oh, it's like a prison. So the children, they are especially when the children are with the father, mother, they naturally feel, feel the protection. They are protected. They feel they are protected. They feel they are safe. They have faith that my father will protect me, mother will protect me. I have no fear. Even though they are going through so many calamities, they don't fear for the next day meal. They have faith that the parents will provide. Here Yamaraj is even talking about the unprotected children. Even they are not killed. Just like there are so many orphan children, they are loitering on the streets. And they are not kidnapped for kidneys or something like that. Many of them are safe. They are also eating, they are also passing through, they are also enjoying, they are also getting married and producing children. Why we should worry? Yamaraj is surprised that these people don't know this. The boy addressed the woman, "Oh weak woman, only by the will of the Supreme Personality of God, who is never diminished, is the entire world created, maintained and again annihilated." This is the verdict of Vedic knowledge. The material creation, consisting of the moving and non-moving, is exactly like this plaything. Being the Supreme Lord is completely competent to destroy and protect. What is the verse? Rakhe Krishna Mare Krishna Rakhe. So if Krishna wants to destroy, nobody can stop. Krishna wants to protect, nobody can stop. Nobody can kill also. Understand? So, so we should not think that I am the doer. Prakriti Griyamanani Gunai Karmani Sarvajaga Ahankara Vimudatma Karta Aham Niti Manjati. The fools think that I am the doer. So don't think like that. Everything is under the control of Krishna. Yamaraj is saying this. Sometimes one loses his money on the public street where everyone can see. And yet his money is protected by the destiny and not seen by others. That sometimes you travel in a bus, you lost your mobile phone. What do? You have a hope that the mobile phone will be somehow or other you can get. Call the number, somehow. And then you get it. Oh, I am so fortunate I got my phone. But sometimes you lose the phone also. So who decides whether the phone is saved or not saved? There is a thing. There is no guarantee. It is explained here. Thus, the man who lost his gets back. On the other hand, if the Lord does not give protection, even money maintained very securely at home is lost. You throw the money on the street, the money is still there. Like once actually, when I was in Singapore, I forgot my umbrella somewhere. And then I came back, until I came back, the umbrella was there. And similarly, recently when I went to Remuna, also I put my bag in the place of this bag. I put this bag in the place of parents' place of Badadev Vidyabhushan. And then I was doing kirtan, bhajan and reading, and then I forgot my bag. And then came all the way 1 hour to our Balasam temple. Then I'm back not there. Then I took the van again and came back, my bag was there. Unprotected. Anybody can come and take, anybody can come, they can easily take and go, but it was not. Sometimes we keep very securely and then put 10 lock to your house, but thief will come, they will take everything. Even money is lost in the locker also. Bank locker, people lose money. Bank locker also, people lose their properties. Right? Even the ATM, which is highly secure, people steal money from the ATM also. This is what is explained here. If the Supreme Lord give one protection, even though one has no protector and is in the jungle, one remains alive, whereas a person well protected at home by relatives and others sometimes dies. No one being able to protect him. Every conditioned soul receives a different type of body according to his work. Same thing is explained by Kapila. Karmana Devanidrena Jatu Deha Upatyana. And when the engagement is finished, the body is finished. Although the spirit soul is situated in subtle, gross material bodies in different form of life, is not bound by it. For he is always understood to be the completely different from the manifested body. Just as householder, how many verses in this chapter? Everybody can see the phone. See the form. Just as householder, although different from the identity of his house, thinks his house to be identical with him. See? So the conditioned soul, due to ignorance, accepts the body to be himself, although the body is actually different from the soul. His body is obtained through the combination of portion of the earth, water and fire. And when the earth, water and fire are transformed in the course of time, the body is vanquished. The soul has nothing to do with his creation and his creation of the body. Right? You know, you got a bike, and then if someone touches the bike, you get angry. Hey, why you touch my bike? My bike, why you touch? No, don't scratch my bike. Especially the new bike, the new bicycle you got, when someone comes, hey, my bike, why you touch? Because you touch, it becomes dirty, clean. Because it's a Maya. We think what? This house. I am the house. I am not the house, this is my house. Similarly, I am not the body, this is my body. This is the basic philosophy. This is basic philosophy. This is explained by Yamaraj. As fire, although situated in wood, is perceived to be different from the wood. As air, although situated within the mouth and nostrils, is perceived to be separate. And as a sky, although all-pervading, never mixes with anything. So the living entity, although now engaged within the material body, of which it is the source, is separate from it. Maharaj continued, O lamenters, you are all fools. The person named Suyajna, for whom you lament, is still lying before you and has not gone anywhere. Then what is the cause of your lamentation? Previously you heard you and replied to you, but now not finding him, you are lamenting. This is the contradictory behavior, for you have never actually seen the person within the body who heard you and replied. There is no need for a lamentation. But the body I have always seen is lying here. See? This is actually the practical example how much I have bewildered. When I have a father, mother with me, I always think the body of the father as my father. Right? I like a girl. Why? Because she looks so beautiful. She looks so beautiful. So I like the girl. So what do you understand? The body is the girl. But the same girl, when she died, there is no soul inside. Even though you have all the body parts, you don't even want to touch it. You are fearful about the body now. So she is dead. So you yourself will burn the body. That's why he is saying that the same body is lying in front of you. That is why he is calling what? You are all fools. The word Moota. How many verses? In the body of the most important sustenance is the life air, but that also is neither the listener nor the speaker. Beyond even the life air, the soul also can do nothing, but the super soul is actually the director in cooperation with the individual soul. The super soul conducts the activities of the body different from the body and living force. That is what I explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, verse 21. Manumanta, is it? Uttishta. Upatrishta Anumanta, 1323. Upatrishta Anumanta cha Bhakta Bhokta Maheshwaraha Ramatmeti Chapiyukto Dehesmin Purushapara. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the Supreme Protector, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is also known as Super Soul. He is a permitter, Anumanta. So a child cannot do anything without the permission of the parents. Right? The child is always waiting for the permission from the parents. Without permissions, without the approval of the parent, the child cannot do anything. Similarly, a soul, even though we are independent, but we are actually under the control of Krishna. The 5 material elements, the 10 senses and the mind are combined to form various parts of the gross and subtle bodies. The living entity comes in contact with these material bodies, whether high or low, and later gives them up by his personal prowess. This strength can be perceived in a living entity's personal power to possess different types of bodies. As long as the spirit soul is covered by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego, is bound to the results of his fruitive actions. Because of this covering, the spirit soul is connected to the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continuously life after life. It is fruitless to see and talk of the material modes of nature and their resultant so-called happiness and distress as if they were factual. When the mind wanders during the day and man begins to think himself extremely important, or when the dream at night and sees beautiful woman enjoying with him, these are merely false dreams. Similarly, happiness and distress caused by material senses should be understood to be meaningless. So this is actually 2 things. One is daydreaming, another one is night dreaming. In the night we have dreams. The time we see car, we see house, we see we are going somewhere, we are attacked by something. And daytime is really happening. Looks like they are going to go school, study. That's also a dream. That is also a dream. It is not real. The same thing explained by Narada also, in the Bhagavad, another place. So this also dream, and this has no meaning actually. So when you call someone as father, mother, relatives, this is meaningless. It is not real actually. Nobody is his father, nobody is his mother. That's a proper understanding. Those who have full knowledge of self-realization, who know very well that a spirit soul is eternal, whereas the body is perishable, are not overwhelmed by lamentation. But persons who lack knowledge of self-realization certainly lament. Therefore, it is difficult to educate a person in English. So, the real education is education of the self, the soul. Vidyanam Adhyatma Vidya, chapter 10, verse 32. So, the real education is education of the soul, and others are not real educations. There was once a hunter who lured the birds with food and captured them after spreading a net. He lived as if appointed by death personified as the killer of the birds. So it's another story within the story. So actually this story is told by Hiranyakashipu is telling this Suyeshna story to his relatives, and whereas Yamraj is telling the story to the relatives of Suyeshna. So there was a hunter, and then always like trying to capture the birds. While wandering in the forest, the hunter saw a pair of Kulinga birds. Of the two, the female was captivated by the hunter's lure. The queens of Swechna, O queens of Swechna, the male Kulinga bird, seeing his wife put into the greatest danger in the grip of providence, became very unhappy. Because of affection, the poor bird, being unable to release her, began to lament for his wife. Actually, the person, materially attached man, who lost his wife, he laments like this. Actually, husband cannot live without wife. In old age, materially attached, materially inclined husband cannot live with the wife. Why? Because man, of course not now, in olden days, man depends on the wife for food, shelter and everything. Wife cooks and then serves. He sit like a king and eat everything. The wife does service. If the wife die, who will give food? He has to depend on the mercy of the daughter-in-law and the son. And there is no guarantee that, especially in Kali Yuga, no daughter-in-law want to serve, the father-in-law or mother-in-law. At least if the husband die and the wife survive, at least she can take care of herself. She can do some simple cooking or something she can do. She can take care of herself. But when the wife is not there, husband is alone, husband, sees the life like hell. That's why all the husband prays, please I die before you, please don't die before me. This is actually the common thing. Like even 2 days back, yoga master, so he was telling his wife is not there, how painful it is. I said it's a great blessing. Krishna took away your wife is a great blessing for you. No, you don't understand how painful life is. How to live without a wife, how difficult it is. So materially inclined man, of course, materially inclined man, it's possible. But spiritually inclined man voluntarily give up the wife. Panchorvam vanam vrajeti. 50 years should take vanaprastha. But Dhritarashtra was not taking. Dhritarashtra was sitting and eating the food cooked by the people who killed his own children. Bhima killed Duryodhana and all Dukshasana, everybody. And all the Pandavas killed all the Kauravas. In fact, all the Kauravas were killed by Bhima alone, all the 100 of them. And all his relatives were also killed. And Yudhishthira, what he was doing, Dhritarashtra, what he was doing, is sitting there and eating the food cooked by them. Why? Because he thinks that I am old, who can take care of me? Then Vidura has to come and he was giving some nice arguments, you don't understand. Then he said, you are like a dog. You are so shameless. You are sitting and eating the food given by the people who kill your children. Oh, how shameful you are. Very sharp words used to Vidura. That woke up Dhritarashtra. Then he went to forest. So one must take up this. One must take up the Vanaprastha life. But Vanaprastha life is only for intelligent people. So the Brahmana, there are 4 ashramas. Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Whereas Kshatriya, there is only 3 ashrama. No sannyas. Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha. Whereas Vaishyas, there is only 2 ashrama. Brahmachari and Grahastha. No Vanaprastha. Shudras, no ashrama. They don't have any ashrama. They just live like animals. Because no intelligence, no brain. Brahmanas are highly intelligent, that's why they go for sannyasa. What is sannyasa? San means purified. In Tamil also use the word sannama. Sun means very fine. Sannyasa, pure knowledge. Purified knowledge. Sannyasa. Nyasa means knowledge. That's why, the bird, Pulinga, male bird is crying. My God, my wife is captured. How I can live without my wife? Alas, how merciless the providence. How merciless is the providence. My wife, unable to be helped by anyone, is in such an awkward position and lamenting for me. What will providence gain by taking away this poor bird? What will be the profit? If unkind providence takes away my wife, who is off of my body, why should he not take me also? This is the use. What is the use of my life? What is the use of my living with the off of my body, bereaved by loss of my wife? What shall I gain in this way? The unfortunate baby birds, bereft of mother, are waiting in the nest for her to feed them. They are still very small and have not yet grown their wings. How shall I be able to maintain them? See, there was a great devotee, Sridhar Swami. He was planning to take sannyas. Sridhar Swami, right? This is. I'm Sridhar Swami, right? He got married. Some more brother got married. But he doesn't like the married life. He wanted to take sannyas. But the wife was actually expecting to give birth. So what he thought, okay, let me be with my wife until she gives birth. After she gives birth, let me take sannyas. That was his plan. His plan is that after the wife give birth, I take sannyas. But what happened? During the delivery, the wife died. The wife died. So the baby was in his hand. So what can we do now? He want to take sannyas, and the baby is in his hand. What can he do? And he looked at the wall. There was a lizard. It gave birth to a small lizard. Small lizard came. And that mother lizard left. And the small lizard don't know what to do. And then it was actually struggling for some time. And then it saw one small insect. Put the tongue outside. Take the insect. Eat. Started moving also. Sridhar Maharaj saw this. Yeah, no problem. The lizard can manage. Why not my child? He took sannyas. He left the child and took sannyas. Of course, we cannot imitate. He's a great personality. He's not going there and thinking, what will my son do now? He was not thinking like that. That is actually, that is not a proper pronunciation. What is proper pronunciation? Karmana manasa gira. Karmana manasa gira. That is proper meditation. By mind, by body, and by words. We have to be renounced by three things, not by only by physically I am detached, but mentally I am still thinking of my child. I want to take sannyas. I am chanting Hare Krishna, what my son is doing. Hare Krishna, what is my son now? That is not sannyas. Sannyas means completely. Sridhar Maharaj, Sridhar Swami was that strong he was. That's why he was able to take sannyas. But this is the argument. How the baby birds will live. This is how the many people think also. Sometimes the mother died in the pregnancy, and the child is under the control of the father. And how the child will get the breast milk, how the child can live, who will cook for the child. But the child is not dying, no? Somehow the things are arranged, right? That is a conditioned state. So he always asks the question, go back. The previous question. How shall I be able to maintain them? How shall I be able to maintain them? You are not maintaining them. They are maintained by Krishna. Because of the loss of his wife, the Kulinga bird lamented with tears in his eyes. Meanwhile, following the direction of mature time, the hunter, who was very carefully hidden in the distance, released his arrow which pierced the bird of the Kulinga bird and killed him. Yamaraj, in the guise of a small boy, told all the queens, "You are all so foolish that you lament but do not see your own death." So just when the Kulinga male bird, it is thinking about the position of the female bird, the male bird was killed. Similarly, we are thinking of other people, death. Oh, my brother, my father. But we don't understand that I am dying every second. I am dying every second. You don't see this. Thus Yamaraj, in the guise of a small boy, told all the queens, "You are all so foolish." Okay, read this. Yeah. Afflicted by a poor fund of knowledge, you do not know that even if you lament for your dead husband for hundreds of years, you will never get him back alive. And in the meantime, your life will be finished also. The same story is Chitraketu's son. Chitraketu's son also left the body, and then he was lamenting, and then Narada and Angira came to give knowledge. Hiranyakashipu said, while Yamaraj in the form of a small boy was instructing all the relatives surrounding the dead body of Suyajna, everyone was struck with wonder by his philosophical words. They could understand that everything material is temporary, not continuing to exist. After instructing the foolish relatives of Suyajna, Yamaraj, in the form of a boy, disappeared from his vision. Then the relatives of the king Suyajna performed ritualistic funeral ceremonies. Therefore, none of you should be aggrieved for the loss of the body, whether your own or those of others. Only in ignorance does one make body distinctions, thinking, who am I, who are the others, what is mine, what is for others. Narada said, Narada continued, Diti, the mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha heard the instructions of Hiranyakashipu along with the daughter-in-law Kushabhanu, Hiranyaksha's wife. She then forgot her grief over her son's death and thus engaged her mind and attention understanding the real philosophy of life. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta Prabhu 7th Canto, 2nd chapter of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, entitled Hiranyakashipu, the king of the world. So, this is the way to counteract the miseries. So, when we have disturbance, right? We all have disturbance, right? Sometimes we get disturbance. Sometimes, we are agitated. What we do? So, I need some time. I want to be lonely. Right? What we do? Just go to a private place and then sit like this. There is no use. If you have some disturbance, should sharpen the knowledge with the words of the Shastra. Open this Bhagavad Gita, open Bhagavatam, and then hear what Prahlad Maharaj says, hear what actually Narada Muni says, hear what actually all the great personalities says, what Prabhupada says, then your mind is actually relieved of miseries. Even though they got disturbed, like that relatives of Suyajna got disturbed, that small boy, Yamaraj in the form of small boy, that words of him gave confidence. Similarly, Hiranyaksha's wife and mother, all the relatives, they were also disturbed. Then the words of Hiranyakashipu gave strength. Clear? So that's why we should always take shelter of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Hear Bhāgavatam. That's why Nityam Bhāgavata Sevaya. Shrinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayanta Stokya Abhadrani Itinodi Surasana. Let us stop today. So we will continue with the 3rd chapter tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we will do the 3rd chapter. Of course, I don't know how we can complete. There is only 2 more days. Yeah, we'll try to cover as much as possible. Okay. So tomorrow we'll cover, morning we'll cover, try to cover 3 and 4 if possible. Let us see. Narshimha Bhagavatam Jai. Prabhupada Jai. Thank you everyone for coming. See you all tomorrow morning 8 o'clock. Hare Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. 8 a.m.